वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम्
देवकी
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। सौभाग्यस्य महोदधिं सुधामसुहृदं देवं सौभाग्यस्य महोदधिं करुणामयरूपं तं करुणामयरूपं तं
चेरदं देवं शरणागतरक्षकं
रुक्मिणीरञ्जकं चारुं रुक्मिणीरञ्जकं चारुं गाङ्गेयेन स्तुतं देवं विदुरेण नतं सदा गाङ्गेयेन स्तुतं देवं विदुरेण नतं सदा उद्धवाभिमतं वेद्यम् उद्धवाभिमतं वेद्यम् सारथिं देवं शोकमोहनिवारकं पार्थस्य सारथिं देवं शोकमोहनिवारकं धर्मयुद्धजये हेतुं धर्मयुद्धजये हेतुं जये हेतुं धर्मयुद्ध जये हेतुं
योगनिष्ठं स्थिरं देवं
समत्वसहितं शान्तं समत्वसहितं शान्तम् वेशाढ्यं बलिनं नयकोविदम्
मायामानुषवेषाढ्यं बलिनं नयकोविदम्
गुणेशं निर्गुणं देवं गुणेशं निर्गुणं देवम्
Radhe Krishna, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Very glad to meet you all once again on yet another evening, a blissful evening to see again a few glories of the Ananta glories of Lord Shri Krishna in the series of Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum, the global festival of divinity in humanity. Today, we're going to have wonderful sessions, both part and parcel of our ancient Indian art forms. One is painting and the other art forms, and the other one is poetry. So both art and poetry are very essential aspects of our culture, of our spirituality and everything. For us, these are all not different from spirituality. These are very much part and parcel of spirituality as such. And you can't think of Indian art form or poetry, literature without Krishna being there. In fact, the other day we have seen Dr. Aarti Balasubramaniam elaborately speaking on varied literatures, poetries around this whole country, not just from Karnataka, but from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, varied scholars, varied poets who have composed songs on Krishna in different leelas of Krishna, and how each one have celebrated Krishna's varied dimensions. Hearing the melodies of the songs as well sung by RTG and team, we have enjoyed. So today, another most important aspect, we can't have that sakshatkar of Bhagavan as such. So we need to depend on art forms to worship Bhagavan. So even that art form which we worship is also called an Archavatara in the Vaishnava tradition. Even the Vigraha or even the Chitram of Bhagavan is considered to be his avatara, Archavatara. For us to worship him, the avatara taken by the Lord. That's how we consider. So that is so important. So it's not just like that any artist or painter would do. We see even those artists to bring out wonderful devotion. With devotion is what they do. In today's scenario, in the artist circle, we are seeing a lack of this devotion. In those days, no matter what religion they belong to, but if they take Krishna or Rama, they develop the devotional fervor and then only they would do. We have seen many people from other religions who would paint our own gods, but with that reverence that they would do. But today, this reverence, this devotion is lacking a lot in the generation. That is where we have with us a wonderful devotee who is so deeply involved in our scriptures as well as bringing those into the artistic reality as well. Last year, we have all heard of a very unfortunate situation in Karnataka, the Vyasaraya Brindavana in the Nava Brindavanam near Hampi, which was vandalized by few gundas. And when that happened, immediately the Vyasaraya Swami, along with all the, even Pejavar Sri Galotu, Raghavendra Mat Swamiji, everybody, Uttaradi Mat Swamiji, everybody gathered there, all the Yativaryas gathered there. And in less than 24 hours, they all stood there and executed the reconstruction of the glorious Vrindavanam of Sri Vyasaraj. And in that, we had a devotee's role very profound, who had the deep knowledge of ancient Shilpa Shastra and art forms, and who stood there to see that all the Shilpas are made to the same proper tradition and then they are executed there. And that is what we see in Sri K.M. Seshagiri ji, who is with us today. And I take the privilege of offering my pranams to each one of you who is gathered here on behalf of Adhyatma Yoga and Advaita Academy. And I also welcome Sri K. Seshagiri ji for this session today. And it's my privilege to introduce him. And thanks to even I had been following him in the Facebook, and also I directly invited him, and also I got to know him through our Purna Pramati group of institution. I thank Sri Srinivas and others, my friend Madhav and all, for introducing me to Sri Seshagiri ji. So I welcome Seshagiri ji to please come with us, join with us with the video and the audio. And Seshagiri ji is working currently as a technical architect and a senior UX consultant at TCS Bangalore with more than 25 plus years of experience. He also is a rank holder in 5 years diploma in fine arts, distinction holder in Master of Fine Arts. He had conducted many solo exhibitions, around 5, participated in more than 16 group shows. His works are on display in more than 10 countries. And he had designed more than 1,000 plus cover page designs. He has been the main architect and designer for the 32 feet monolithic sculpture of Sri Madhvacharya at Udupi. He had conducted many digital art workshops, taught hundreds of art students. Currently, with the online sessions starting, he is training thousands of students from the Chitrakala Parishad as well. And he had been the director, script writer, and editor for many documentaries, animation films, and presentations. In the last 25 years, he had worked as an illustrator, animator, animation movie director, UI designer, brand manager, art film designer, SME for South Indian traditional iconography and architect, interior designer, and UX consultant for various groups and organizations. So we are very privileged to have such an accomplished person as Sri Seshagiri ji is here with us to do. So he is very deeply involved in the Dvaita Madhva Siddhanta philosophies and Srimad Bhagavatam also. And he is teaching, he's also doing the teaching techniques of drawing and Bharathiyar Chitrakala for more than 2,500 students in online platforms. Wow, that is a wonderful work that he is doing. So Namo Namaha, Namaste. Welcome to you. We are very eager to hear from you how Krishna has influenced the Indian art forms. And also we know that you have done a lot of artwork, your own productions which you have made. And we are all very keen and eager to see all those as well. And how you have taken the shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam as inspiration, how you have brought it all into the art form. So over to you. Namaste.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for this beautiful program. And I know it is my privilege to be here in this program. My greetings to all the members. Take you through my art journey, because I'm not a good speaker. I think my art should speak with you. So let me try my level best in this presentation. Let me present my screen now. Is it visible in full screen?
Yes.
Okay. I begin my today's presentation by expressing my heartful gratitude to Adhyatma Yoga Academy and Advaita Academy for conferring this wonderful opportunity upon me. This month-long event, aptly called Global Festival of Divinity and Humanity, pivots around celebrating universal teachings of Sri Krishna, is endearing is a wonderful concept. While some people celebrate Krishna Janmashtami in the month of Shravana, some others do in Simhamasa, which could either occur in Shravana or Bhadrapada. This year it is during Bhadrapada. This month-long event is organized between these two Janmashtamis. So I would like to thank for this opportunity. Let me begin this presentation with my prayer to Lord Sri Krishna. Dhyayed Harin Maniham Jagadekavandhyam Saundaryasaram Ari Shankha Vara Abhayani Durbir Dadana Majitam Sarasancha Bhaishmi Satyasametam Akhila Pradam Indiresham. This shloka defines that this is the dhyana shloka of Sri Krishna, which is provided by Madhvacharya in Grantha called Tantrasara, which says Krishna, who is holding Chakra and Shankha on his top hands, and Abhaya and Varamudra, who is also accompanied by Rukmini and Satyabhama. If we pray him, he will provide us all the happiness, health, wealth, everything. So I am praying that Lord, who is there with us all, and who is residing in me, and I am praying with him. Like just like Dhruva, how he has prayed him, Yonta Pravishya Mama Vacham Imam Prasuktam. So similarly, let Lord Sri Krishna provoke my voice and let me present in front of you. My pronouns to all those who have conceptualized this and articulated this commendable event. We can call this month as Sri Krishna Masa, purely dedicated to our beloved Lord Sri Krishna. We are all aware of the story of Lord Sri Krishna. According to few traditions, sampradayas, the auspicious day of Janmashtami, devotees around the world observe fasting and offer special worship, puja to Lord Sri Krishna at midnight during moonrise time. For it is the time which he has incarnated on this earth. During this worship, while offering arghya, we recite a mantra, which is which defines the purpose of his incarnation as his avatara. We chant the mantra, which recite like this: Jatah kamsa vadarthaya bhubhara haranaya cha kauravanam vinashaya daityanam nidhanaya cha pandavanam hitarthaya dharma samsthapanaya cha grihanargyam maya dattam devakya sahito hare. Which means Krishna incarnated himself to kill Kamsa and other demons who had become a burden to Mother Earth, and also to terminate Kauravas through Pandavas, and also to safeguard all good people on earth, and to establish dharma and protect all of mankind. This is the summary of purpose of Sri Krishna's incarnation. So with this backdrop, let us see how this message is detailed, and this has been delineated in our Indian art. So let me start presenting. Let us go through how this art journey has started in India. As Mr. Subramanian has rightly said, this is his Archa Murti. So to meditate Sri Krishna, we need a pratima or a form. Even it could be a idol, or it could be an art, or it could be an imaginative idol which comes in front of our mind. So we need something to bring him to the shape or akara, so that because of that we are able to visualize how he has done many wonderful things during his avatara. But it is very difficult for everybody to visualize certain defined patterns or rupas of Lord Krishna. So artists have started creating their own presentations through sculptures, or even on palm leaves. So many things started in the early era. The one which we see in the oldest one is which is available in Dwarka. So all these images are taken from the internet. All this credit goes to the people who have posted these images. So these are all the few things which are available in Dwarka. These underwater excavations done by Archaeological Survey of India under the guidance of Sri S.R. Rao provides evidence that the legendary city of Dwarka indeed existed, and that is no myth. The team of surveyors have found many sculptures and at the seabed dating back 5,000 year and older. These are oldest evident references in our Indian art forms. Even the idol of Udupi Sri Krishna believed to be the era of Sri Krishna, which was later obtained and installed by Sri Madhvacharya in the 13th century at Udupi. P. Banerjee, the author of book The Life of Krishna in Indian Art, provides the evidence of Krishna art on a silver coin that dates back to the almost 2nd century BC. Similarly, there are 2-3 other stone sculptures which belongs to 2nd century BC that are also documented in his book. So the sculptures, the images, what we are seeing here, the second one, the Kalinga Mardhana, is almost more than 4,000-year-old sculpture, which we got during the excavations. The earliest evidence of Sri Krishna available in our Indian art are in the sculptures. So because the reason why is earlier we did not had the image what we are seeing is of Udupi Krishna. We believe that this idol is also from Dwarka, and it is the period of Dwarka. So earlier days when we used to see these Krishna's art forms in scriptures or in any manuscripts, in palm leaves, etc. So they did not had any paper or which is not longer durable. So at that time, they used to do this either on cloth or on palm leaves. So we get only after in 2nd century or 3rd century AD, whatever the palm leaves are there, we get some references of that. So Krishna's images are available in all over India in different places and in different forms. For example, even it's this is actually 400-year-old, but earlier, and I'm just giving you this image as an example. People used to write Krishna's picture or any other visualization on the palm leaves or in any other even in cloth for the depiction, and also to meditate, because not many people were artists. So for their meditation, these images used to help them a lot. So then later point of time when Mughals came to India, and then Persian artists came here, Kangra art started developing in India. And later we can see a lot of images, Kangra images in India, which has a lot of romanticism in it. Especially in Kangra images, which was highly influenced by Persian art. Later they developed their own stylization, and with that stylization they started providing a lot of intricate details which is provided in Bhagavata, especially when we see Jayati Tedikam Janmanavraja Shrayata Indira Sadhu Tatrahi, which Gopi Gita, which is known as Gopi Gita. The gopis who used to play with Krishna, and they used to think him as their own husband, but not many people used to think him as a god. Sometimes whenever they used to think like him as a human, he used to disappear. And then when they start meditating him back as the Almighty, then he used to appear. So these depictions are very difficult to imagine, and so that's the reason we need something. An illustration is required to think about these wonderful narrations which is given in Bhagavata. So especially in Kangra painting, we see all these illustrations which are mostly on, which gives most of the flavor of romanticism in their paintings. Also, because of Jayadeva and many other kavis who had Madhura Bhakti in their presentation, those scriptures influenced the people at that time a lot. So based on that, many of these romantic paintings started in North India. Even in this is Pahari style, which is similar to Kangra, but it has a bold treatment, which we see even now in modern abstract treatment. So this is one of the earlier compositions which has wonderful spacing, rhythm, pictorial rhythm. I mean, so it has a lot of pictorial values which we see now as a very good composition. So these stylizations were developed in India, in North India, along with the Madhura Bhakti what they had. Then later, if we move to West Bengal, because of Sri Chaitanya Prabhu Maharaj, there also the tradition of Madhura Bhakti and also the Krishna's depiction, it has influenced a lot on their tribal art. What we are seeing is the painting of Jamini Rai, which is a very recent work of almost 50, 60 year old, but he is also influenced by the old folk art of West Bengal, which was influenced by Madhura Bhakti. Later, when we come to Orissa, this is this style we can see in Raghurajpur, where even now there are hundreds of artists working there every day, creating a lot of Krishna's Leela images. Especially they work on most of the Bala Leela images. There are hundreds and thousands of artists whom in the entire city they do this every day. So even now Krishna is relevant for many artists in India. Similarly, if we move to south, even in Kerala, we can find these murals, painting which is almost dated 200 to 300 year old. So all these images gives us the feel of Krishna, who has spread all over India, not just all over India, and in all over the world. His bhakti was in practice. So people from their own representations, they started creating him in their own stylization. If we move to Tamil Nadu and Mysore, we see Tanjore and even Mysore style of painting, which is almost similar, but in some stylization it slightly differs. So even in those two styles also we can see a lot of illustrations of Sri Krishna, especially Bala Leela but the ornaments and the stylization, cloth stylization, draperies, all this differs from what we see in Kangra to here, and depending upon their own sampradayas and their own regional practices, they come up with their own visuals. But however, Madhura Bhakti is still we can see in all these images. So these images have influenced me a lot when I started thinking about Krishna in my childhood. So then I started creating a lot of paintings. Even I should thank ISKCON for the wonderful illustrations which they have created in realistic stylization, without which it is very difficult for many people to imagine many of Sri Krishna's life events. This is also one of traditional tribal style of Sri Krishna, which we see in Mangalore area, and this is called Kavikale, which is done by Srimati Veena Srinivas. So there are a lot of such things all over India. We can see these type of illustrations about Sri Krishna. So with this, I would like to take you to my experiments, and I would like to show how I imagine Lord Krishna. So basically, this is one of let me give you a small background about these illustrations. These illustrations are not a detailed drawings. It means I have not taken. I have taken a maximum 1 to 1.5 hours for these images to teach students. More than, as Sri Dr. Subhabaya said, more than 1,000 students are attending these classes, and now I want to spread this Krishna Bhakti through this art digitally. At this time, when we have when everything is going online. So now, from April, I started teaching online. Through my iPad. People are watching around the world, and most, more than 1,000 students, thousands of students are attending these classes. So this is one of the illustration, and in these illustrations, I show them how I visualize Sri Krishna. I play this video. Basically, when we create some illustrations like this, we need to think how it has to be composed in a canvas which we are looking at. In a canvas, how I am imagining, and how all these forms are placed, and then how we are going to depict Lord Sri Krishna with his actions is very important for the student to understand. So whatever I could think of Sri Krishna's Balalila, I'm trying to depict in my pictures with these illustrations, with these drawings. So these are all the some of the drawings which was done during my classes. Sorry, my presentation is not so good. I cannot talk verbally like how I do drawing, but so similarly, these are all the depiction of Lord Sri Krishna, Balalila, how he was able to convince his mother, saying that he has not stolen the butter. So all this story we listen, but to illustrate and to bring it to the visualization is slightly challenging job for an artist. So we are trying our level best to teach younger kids to come up with their own stylization, and it also helps them to learn the drawing process as well. So these are all the illustrations which are being created. The other thing is, with these images, I am also trying to bring Sri Krishna's unique features. Like, he is not just a supreme god. He, for his devotees, he can go to any level. For Pandavas, he, during Rajasuya Yaga, he washed all the horses in the in whatever was there in Pandava's house. He goes like a dasa. He works as a servant. If we believe him properly, he can go to any extent to help us. So these are all the things which gives us the feeling that whenever we are in stress, or when we really need him, he gives the assurance that he is there for us. So these are all the instances what he has given in Bhagavata, gives us the confidence that if we believe him, he is there for us. This is how he has protected Pandavas. Whenever they had asked, whenever his presence was required, he was there for them. So these are all the illustrations I tried to teach with these drawing techniques, I try to bring the Krishna art flavor in our students. So yeah, the next one is Sri Krishna Tulabhara. Sri Krishna shows himself that his bhakti is very important. So when he was just for a tulasi dala, he that balance went up. So he shows in this that bhakti is more important than anything. So he makes his weight lighter just for a tulasi, just for one small leaf of tulasi with the devotion, whatever we present to him, he accepts it as as an entire world. So this is how we need to see him as we need to see his karunya. So the next illustration what we are seeing now here is this is how he had come for Rukmini when all kings and even for Rukmi and many others were trying to avoid Sri Krishna, and they had already called Shishupala for a marriage, and they had fixed the marriage with Shishupala, yet Sri Krishna was there for Rukmini, and he came on the right time, and for his Madhura Bhakti, he just took her, because Lord knows where Mahalakshmi is, so he never leaves Mahalakshmi, to be there for any other people. So these are all the things which Bhagavata defines very deeply. So those things are I'm just trying to illustrate with my own visualizations here in these drawings. So the next one is this is a Balakrishna Rupa. This is one of my digital painting. In this, this is in Rukmini Shvijaya. Shri Vadraja Shripada says, Pragrahya Gantam Aparena Patram Karena Chanyena Payah Pimantam Nishamya Mitrani Cha Tarpayantam Sumismita Kapi Babhuva Tushnim, which means Gopi knew that Krishna will come to her home to steal butter. So she had placed a bell inside that pot. So whenever Sri Krishna comes, when he touches that pot, that bell will make a noise. So she wanted to catch Sri Krishna, when bell makes some noise there. She thought Krishna will know this, but Sri Krishna, who is Sarvajna, he knew what this Gopi had done. So he took his hand and he placed his hand inside that bell, and he made sure that that there will be no sound at all. And then he started taking that milk butter, and also he started pouring the milk on his friends. At the same time, in other hand, he started eating the butter. So Gopi was surprised. She comes in suddenly, and she sees this wonderful visual of Sri Krishna with 4 hands. She becomes very her devote. She was speechless, and then that's what the sloka says. Suvismita kapi babhuva tushnim. She was speechless, and she kept on watching the wonderful form of Sri Krishna. So I was just trying to depict for a book. This is one of my visualization for of Sri Krishna stealing the butter with 4 hands. So I'm trying to present different forms of Sri Krishna in different age groups, whatever he has done. One is Dharma Rakshana, what he has done, and another one is the Bala Leela. And the other thing is, he has given a lot of wonderful messages through his Leela. So I'm trying to depict few of them through Bhagavata and other references here. The next one is Jarasandha Samhara. Jarasandha was well-known demon at the time, and as we know that he had attacked Krishna's army almost 18 times. Krishna sent him, almost every time empty-handed, and he killed all. Every time he used to come with 21 Akshohini Sainya. He killed. Krishna killed all 21 Akshohini Sainya every time. He used to come almost 18 times. But still, Krishna did not kill him because Krishna wanted Bhima to kill him. So some people call Krishna as Ranachod, means Krishna used to run away because of Jarasandha. But that is not the way of how Krishna projected himself. He is not a he's a brave person. He is almighty. He can do anything. Just by thinking himself about killing Jarasandha, he can do that. With his Sudarshana Chakra, at any point of time, he could have done that. But he had decided that Bhima will kill Jarasandha. So what Krishna, whatever he thinks as the best thing to do for his devotees will definitely do that. Bhima knows what Krishna's intentions are. So Bhima did this with a high devotion. Not just it was not just a killing process for him. It was a devotion. So Bhima is in this depiction I am trying to show Bhima is not just killing him, and actually after killing him, Bhima throwed he separated the body and threw each one to the opposite side. But this is just before throwing the body to opposite sides, and this is just a Rakta Tarpana what Bhima had given to Lord Krishna immediately after killing him. What I am trying to depict here is Bhima is submitting his devotion just by giving the arghya with by using the blood of Jarasandha as his pure devotion. So you can see the details in the painting. I'm trying to illustrate these things in with a detailed, realistic approach. So you can see the minute detailing in this image now here in this painting. So all these works are all these are created in Photoshop, and all these are my digital creations. So I would like to move on to the next one, which is another Leela of Sri Krishna. In Bhagavata, there are many wonderful illustrative depictions which are available. Among them, one is Shyamam Hiranyapadinim Valamarha Barha Dhatu Pravala Natavesham Anuvratamse Vinyasta Hasta Mitarena Adhunanam Abjam Karnotpala Kalakapola Mukhabja Hasam, which means this painting is still going on. This is an oil painting which I am doing from last few years, which is I'm about to complete. And actually I wanted to complete this for this event, but somehow still the work is going on, and it is under development now. This painting is about around 3 feet by 4 feet, which is a purely oil color painting. In this painting, I am trying to depict Viprapatnis who had wives of some priests who had come to meet Sri Krishna with different types of bhaksha, bhojya, and etc. Because earlier, you might have you might know the story. Sri Krishna was there in the Vrindavan, and he had come to the place where some sacrifice was going on. Some sages were doing a huge yagna there. Krishna says, I am very hungry. Then his friends go to the these Viprapatnis and ask, say that Krishna has come here. So, and they say that Krishna is hungry. So immediately they bring all the food which was prepared for that yajna, and they submit to the Lord. So in that, at this time, in Bhagavata, it defines how Krishna was decorated, and whatever all his how he had prepared himself. That depiction is very clearly defined. It says Shyamam Hiranya Paradim, and also they say that Dhatu Pravala Natamesham Anuvratam se. He was dressed himself as an actor who had covered himself with the peacock feathers, and also with Makara Kundala, and also he had put two flowers on his ears, with Vanamala on his neck. All these depictions are given in Bhagavata. With these, I'm trying to build up these paintings, and I'm trying to illustrate as far as close to the details what is given in Bhagavata. With these, I think the time is up already, 7:25 now. So with these illustrations, I would like to end my presentation with all my paintings, and I would like to conclude this presentation to Lord Sri Krishna, who is an instrumental in creating each and every artwork by residing inside me, and without his karuna, I could have never done all these things. So I submit my pranams to Lord Sri Krishna and end my presentation with this note. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, and I would like to thank you, all of you, for joining this presentation.
Namaste. When I invited Sri Seshagiri ji to give a presentation of Krishna in art forms, so he said, I can do some painting or do all those technical things, but I have not been so good in presenting those things and talking. So he was, I said, it's Bhagavan Shri Krishna who is our Antaryami and who will use us as an instrument and make it all to happen. So in the right way. So here, we say in Tamil, Chittiram pe sudadi in chindai magiladi. So Chittiram pe, the chitra is the art form. So that speaks. So your work speaks. So your tongue need not speak, your work speaks. And also added to that, the work of your hand, the beauty of your paintings and the beautiful art form. Yes, your tongue also spoke so well of the glories of Shri Krishna. Also, that's where the difference is. So when we hear in the Bhagavatam, Karnayo, Karnikaram, so the Karnikara Pushpa he has in the ear. So what a normal artist would do, is something different. In fact, rather, I don't know whether the pictures today, what we have when we go to the photo shops, not the Photoshop, computer shop, the photo frame shops, what is available outside when you go and buy a picture of the gods, whether they look into movies and paint the picture of N.T. Ramarao or Rajkumar and all those people into these things, or whether looking into these things, the cinema stars decorate themselves and come, I do not know. Nowhere that they go according to the scriptures. So, but when a devotee like Sri Seshagiri Ravji brings all those, where he knows the shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam, or it could be Rukminisha Vijayam, or all those scriptures which he is bringing out. So he is really bringing out those original literatures in the art form. What is given in the poetry, what is given in the Kavyam, what is given in the Purana, is bringing through his beautiful depictions of the art form also. So it can happen only when a devotee understands, and it's not just a kind of a profession or an art or something like that. It is indeed a sadhana itself for a devotee. Sadhana need not be, our devotion need not be shown only in the form of doing a puja or a Sangeeta or a Pravachana or Stotra or anything, like what Seshagiri ji has proved is even the art of painting, drawing, even those can become. Whatever we do, the gopis of Vrindavan, they did not do special sadhana or anything. Whatever they were doing, it could be churning of the curd, it could be selling of the butter, it could be doing anything. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. They were always in the remembrance of Sri Krishna and doing that. So if only even our hobbies like art and all can also make us remember the Lord and take us so close to the Lord, what more than that? And we have some of the students of Sri Seshagiri ji who had also joined us in this. For example, for I think Chaumini Prakash, who is joined here, brings us a beautiful testimony of how he teaches. So she says, I'm a student of Seshagiri ji, and he is a teacher with a great commitment and the vision. Besides drawing, he also gives us an insight into the forms we are depicting. His knowledge is immense. He has enabled us to enhance our contemplation and connection with the Lord. And so blessed to have a mentor such as him. Yes, that's what we could also feel. Just by a small presentation, if we could feel this, Chaumini ji, you are blessed to learn from such a great master. So indeed, you are blessed. I have one question to Sri Seshagiri ji, which is asked by Srimati Anita Rangaswamy from Phoenix. In the past, the drawings were artist inspired and hand drawn. Since digital art has been created and is popular now, are you teaching youth digitally computer generated art methods online, or is it traditional hand drawn paintings? I think you have shown both samples of hand drawn paintings as well as digitally created one. But still, since Anita ji had asked this question, so what is that you teach? Can you answer, Seshagiri ji, please?
Yeah, sure, sir. Basically, while I'm doing these classes online, I teach digitally because in digital platforms helps me to show how these lines or the way we develop the process. It will be helpful for us, and also after the class, it will be saved in the Facebook or wherever we teach automatically. So digital platforms have been a very good tool for us to teach the arts and other illustrations. I also teach manually, like on canvas or on paper with watercolor, oil color, etc. But due to this pandemic situation, that has been stopped from last few months. But I do both.
Very nice. Will anybody newly who want to, in case, learn these art form from you, if they contact you, will they be able to learn it from you? I don't know, whatever would be their background so far, whether they have learned already or they're going to start as a novice. So is there a possibility to learn such things from you, Seshagiri?
Yeah, it is possible. But only thing is, right now I'm doing it in Kannada for Kannada audience. There is a group called Samskriti Vahini. Every Saturday I teach from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Apart from that, there are many requests to teach in English as well for a few students, which I think I will be starting after November or December.
Yeah, that would be great. We have a lot of interested people from across the boundaries who would be interested to join in these classes and learn from you. It will be a real blessing for all of them to do that. So I have shared Sri Seshagiri ji's email ID in this chat. So if anybody who are interested to contact him, I think you can contact through the mail and then later take his other contacts and you can do it. Also, you can follow him in the Facebook, KM Seshagiri. So once again, on behalf of Adhyatma Yoga and Advait Academy, my humble pranams to Sri KM Seshagiri ji, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation and bringing to us these spectacular, wonderful paintings, art, digital form, whatever way, but you could bring to us Krishna live through the art form. Thank you so much. Our greetings to you. Namaste.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
We hope to see your works more in situation permits, maybe inviting you physically and then seeing you live doing some of these art form or something also. whenever time permits. Thank you so much. May Krishna inspire you to do more and more such Kala Seva. Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Friends, we are moving on to the next session of today's talk by Sri Jataayu, and was just one of the most important characters in Srimad Ramayanam, as we all know, who has given his life to protect the mother Sita. So, what more than this name of Jataayu that a devotee of Rama who is inspired with Ramayana would love to have. Jataayu is the pen name of Sri Shankar Narayanan, and who is a resident of Bangalore, who by vocation is an electronics technology professional, but has taken up the passion of writing, authoring a lot of articles, books, and columns as well. And we have with us Sri Jataayu, who is known to me for quite some time, and often I have been reading his wonderful work through Facebook and through various channels wherever he would share. So we have a privilege in inviting him today. In fact, he's one of the first persons, once I conceived this concept of this Krishnam the Jagat Gurum, I asked him especially to bring in, I know the depth of his knowledge in the whole spirituality, scriptures, everything, particularly on Tamil literatures, because when we look into Tamil, today in the current scenario in Tamil Nadu, a lot of things to separate the language, the region, everything out of our ancient spirituality, our literature, wisdom is quite kind of things which are happening. In this situation, it is currently even my guru Sri Ranganji has started something Vedam Nirainda Tamil Nadu, which again it's from Subramanya Bharathiyar song only. So it is in those ancient times we have seen Tamil and Sanskritam going together. So Krishna especially have a great influence over Tamil literatures, not just only the literatures of Alvars or anything, even the older Sangha literatures of Paripadal and all those things, definitely it is there. So I had, in fact, earlier I had requested Jatayuji to present a kind of overview of the entire Tamil literature where Krishna's influence could be there. And then, but 3 days back when we spoke, again we brought it more focused to the literature of the poetry of Subramanya Bharathiyar. Just in 3 days on September 11th, when we have the Universal Brotherhood Day, the day of Swami Vivekananda's speech at Chicago, we'll also have the Aradhana, the Smarana Divas of Subramanya Bharati, who left his body that day in a Kshetra Tiruvallikeni, which is Parthasarathis Kshetra in Chennai. So therefore, in that context, we thought we would bring it to focused on Subramanya Bharati's thing. So Sri Jatayuji has been writing on a range of topics centered around cultural themes and Hindutva since 2005, both in Tamil as well as English. Is well read on the Hindu philosophy, history, culture, and the arts. He is a scholar of Tamil literature, especially the Kamba Ramayanam. A collection of his Tamil essays has been published as a book of Kalam Thorum Narasimham. And in 2015, it was published. He is on the editorial board of the website tamilhindu.com and also Tamil Monthly magazine Valam. And over Facebook also, he keeps sharing many of his translations and wonderful articles, literatures, sometimes more things which are creating controversies, the current situation, but his clarity from the Hindutva point of view, which he would be often presenting. And today, something which is very dear to my heart, the Kannan Pata, the songs of Subramanya Bharati, who broke the conventions of looking into the Bhavams, only the Panchamaha Bhava, something from where not just looking at Bhagavan as Yajaman, he made him also a servant for him. And which has happened in many of the, if you go to Maharashtra and see Eknath or Namdev and all those Charitram, Krishna has done that. He is Bhakta Vatsala. So as yesterday, Aishwarya sang and danced. So he's Bhakta Vatsala. He would do anything for the devotee's sake. That's what we see in Subramanya Bharatiya Singh. And also he would not compromise on his masculinity and then would become a Gopika. Rather, he made Krishna to become a Kannamma. So that kind of wonderful poetic beauty also we will see from Subramanya Bharati's Kavis. Over to Jatayuji. Welcome on behalf of Adhyatma Yoga and Advaita Academy. And over to you, sir.
Can you hear me, Subhuji? Subhuji, you can hear me, right? Yeah. Namaskara. Yeah. Namaskara to all. Thank you, Subhuji, for that introduction. So today, the topic of our discussion is Subramanya Bharati's Kannan Patu. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum, this series has been presenting many facets of Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna's life, philosophy, teachings, various art forms, the bhaktas, everything. So in line with that, let's enjoy this poetry of Subramanya Bharati and also contemplate on this topic. As many of you may know, Subramanya Bharati lived a very short life of just 39 years, from 1882 to 1921. And within this short span of life, he lived a very fulfilling and tremendous life. He was a nationalist poet. He revolutionized Tamil poetry and gave it a completely new form and content. He was a great Rasika, a poet of a high merit, and he was also a Vedantin and a lover of life. And Shakti and Krishna, the divine mother and the divine cowherd, the divine avatara. These two divine forms were his cherished deities, Ishta Devatas among the Hindu pantheon. So on both these deities, he has written a lot of poetry. So this Kannan Patu consists of about 23 poems of Subramanya Bharati, which he authored when he lived in Pondicherry. He was living a life of a fugitive, hounded by the policemen and the spies of the British regime. So those days, Puducherry was a refuge of nationalists and patriots. We know that Sri Aurobindo also lived there during that time. So even while at the center of this tumultuous national struggle and the freedom movement, Subramanya Bharati's mind always was set on the divine and the joys of life. So during this phase of his life, when he was in Pondicherry, he wrote some of the most sublime of his poetries, like this Kannan Patu, Panchali Sabadam, which is based on a short kavya, based on an episode in the Mahabharata, and also Kuil Patu, a philosophical epic. So that's the background of this series. So in all these 23 poems, Bharati gives titles like My Kannan. It is like, Kannan Yen Tholan, Kannan Yen Thai. So Krishna, my friend, Krishna, my father, Kannan Yen Thai, Krishna, my mother, Kannan Yen Sevagan, Krishna, my servant, Kannan Yen Sidan, Krishna, my student, Kannan Yen Arasan, Krishna, my king. So it is like a sense of intimacy that a bhakta feels for his Bhagavan. So my Kannan, that is one major spirit behind these poems. You may ask, so in the Hindu tradition, we have a lot of examples where, there are some bhaktas who have seen the Lord as absolute Brahman. There are some bhaktas like Meera and Andal who have seen him as his beloved, Nayaka, in the Nayaki Bhava or Madhura Bhava. There are some who have seen Krishna as a small child. But these are all, so it is like one intimate bhava that they expressed. There are hardly any poets or bhaktas who have expressed this range of bhavas, like what Bharati has done here. So there is a Dasya Bhakti, Sakhya Bhakti, Madhura Bhakti, but you typically don't see all of them together in one personality. So Bharati is a very rare case. There you see all of this. It's very interesting. So a question may arise in your mind as to why this? What is the purpose of experiencing and enjoying Krishna in so many ways? That's a very interesting and a very philosophical question. Let's leave that to the later part of this talk. I'll certainly cover it. But before that, let us soak ourselves in some very delightful poetry. In fact, as we walk through these poems, that itself will unravel the answer to the questions that are in our mind. Kannan and Thoran, says the poet. You know, Krishna is such a good friend that பொன்னவிர் மேனி சுபத்திரை மாதை புறங்கொண்டு போவதற்கே என்ன வழி என்று கேட்கில் உபாயம் இருகணத்தை உரைப்பான். You know, I have an eye on his sister, Subhadra, who has this golden hued body. So beautiful she is. I just want to, you know, their whole clan is against marrying herself to a Pandava prince or someone. They have set their eyes some other king, but I want to kidnap her. Can you suggest a trick? If I ask him, in 2 minutes, he gives me the trick. What a good friend. And when I want to fight with Karna, who is a great archer, he has trick for that too. What a great friend he is. So as you see, so here the poet has the bhava of Arjuna, so the greatest friend of Krishna. So he sings the glories of his friend. We always, you know, when you want to talk about your closest friend, there is so much joy. So the poet keeps on singing the qualities of his friend. He says, உண்மை தவறி நடப்பவர் தம்மை உதைத்து நசுக்கிடுவான். அருள் வன்மையினால் அவன் மாத்திரம் பொய்கள் மலைமலையாய் உரைப்பான். My friend Krishna, he trashes and tramples those people who deviate from truth in their ways. But he himself, he keeps telling mountains of lies through his sheer power of grace. பெண்மை குணமுடையான் சில நேரம் பித்தர் குணமுடையான், தன்மை குணமுடையான் சில நேரம் தழலின் குணமுடையான். He is womanly at times. He is like a madman at some other times. He is tender and cool at times. At some other times, he is like blazing fire. So much contradictions. Yet he is a great friend. And what is the greatest thing that he did for me? You know, கீதை உரைத்தனை இன்புறச் செய்தவன் கீர்த்திகள் வாழ்த்திடுவே. He taught me the Gita. Oh, what great honor that could be there. So sings the poet about his friend Krishna. Then comes Kannan and Tandai. You know, Krishna, my father. So now you start thinking, okay, so as a friend, he assumed the bhava of Arjuna. So now some Nandagopa or Vasudeva is going to come. No, that's not true. An ordinary poet would do that, but not Bharath. So it goes on like this. Someone comes and asks him, what is the name of your father? He says, Navu tuniguvadillai endai namathai velippada uraipadakke. You know, my father's name is so lofty, so holy, that even to say that explicitly with my speech, I can't dare to do that. Okay, but still, you know, there will be some name, popular name, say that. Then he says, யாவரும் தெரிந்திடவே எங்கள் ஈசன் என்றும் கண்ணன் என்றும் சொல்வது. We call him our Lord, our Kannan. Oh, is that so? But I saw some other people calling him by different names. What is all that? Oh, மூவகை பெயர் புனைந்தே அவன் முகமறியாதவர் சண்டைகள் செய்வான். You know, these people, they always keep quarreling on his name. Oh, he has this name only. He is only known by that name, etc. These are the people who don't even know his face. Those who have really seen him, those who know his face, they say Sahasra Namne Purushaya Shashvate. Every name is his name. He is the quintessence of all the names and forms in the world. Okay. Oh, okay. I many names. I heard that he is a great Deva. Ha 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 ha. He says, Devar Kulattavan Endre, Avan Seidi Theriyadavar Silar Solvar. Only those who don't know about him, they say he is a celestial being, Deva. Okay, he should have some family, clan, lineage. He should have some kulam. I mean, whenever you ask somebody's father, what is your kulam? It's the first question people ask in India. Yeah. So then he starts replying, Pirandadu Marakulatil, Avan Vedamara Valarndadum Idekulatil. He was born in a Kshatriya clan in Mathura. But he didn't grow up in that. Without any difference, any sense of distinction. He grew up in Gokula among the cowherd people. Oh, so what did he become? Sirandadu Parpanarulle, Sila Setti Makkalodu Miga Palakam. He became the most exalted Brahmana among all the Brahmanas. Oh, what a great glory. He was the one, he said, Vedanta Krit Veda Videva Chaham. I am the one who created Vedanta. I know all the Vedas, a cowherd boy. And all the great Brahmanas accepted it wholeheartedly. The greatest of the Brahmanas, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, everyone started writing commentaries upon commentaries on these most exalted Brahmana. Sila Setti Makkalodu Miga Palakam. He had a lot of affinity to, many Vaishyas, merchants. Like when he went to Mathura, he met the lady who was supplying garlands to Kamsa, the man who was supplying garlands to Kamsa, the lady who supplied sandal paste to Kamsa. He showered his grace on all these people. So you cannot really confine him to one kula. Nirandanil Karumai Gondan, Avan Neyamura Kalipadu Punnirappengai. He was pitch black in color, but all the golden hued damsels were getting enchanted by him. They fell for him. Such is the glory of my father, says Bharati. So now you know the Krishna that he presents. What a lofty idea of Krishna. So how he harmoniously blends the Puranic legends of Krishna and brings out a very socially relevant idea for the whole of Hindu society to emulate. In a way, this is also like a statement from Bharati. So as you know, Bharati was a very radical person. So he did not respect much of the jati rules and inhibitions. In fact, he moved freely with people from all the castes. When he was in Puducherry, he even gave the Upanayana and Gayatri mantra to a person from a SC community called Kanagalingam. So in this poetry, Bharati gives a statement. Being a worthy son of Sri Krishna, what else he could do? My father is beyond all kulam and all color and everything. And that is the principle that I would also emulate. It appears. That's what Bharati is. So that is Kannanyan Thandai. Then there is this poem, Kannanyan Thai, Krishna, my mother. And about his father, he says one more thing. See, I told that my father had all these multiple kulam and everything. He was Dinabandhu. He is most friendly with the poorest of the poor people. We all know Kuchela. how he, how he maintained his friendship with him. நாழிகைக்கோர் புத்தியுடையான் ஒரு நாள் இருந்தபடி மற்றொரு நாளில் இல்லை. He is a man who just keeps changing every minute and every day. Isn't that true? So a worshipper of Krishna, every time you read about Krishna or you think about Krishna, newer and newer thoughts keeps coming. There is nothing that is old or stagnated or stale with Krishna. So, my father is like that. Then comes Kannan and Thai, Krishna, my mother. உண்ண உண்ண தெவிட்டாதே அம்மை உயிரெனும் முலையினில் உணர்வெனும் பால். Everyone remembers his or her mother by the first feed that they have taken from her. So he says, Kannan ennum பெயருடையாள், this mother of mine who has a name Kannan, the breast milk that she gave me, unna unna tevitade, I never get satiated by its taste, lifelong. So she gave me unarvenum pal, a milk of consciousness. That's what she fed me. And her breasts were the very form of life. Uirenum mulayinil unarvenum pal. Every mother tells stories to her children. She also told me stories. Lot of stories. What are they? இன்பமென சில கதைகள், எனக்கு ஏற்றம் என்றும் வெற்றி என்றும் சில கதைகள். She told me stories which were called happiness. There were stories which elevations for me, victory for me. There were stories like that. துன்பமென சில கதைகள், கெட்ட தோல்வி என்றும் வீழ்ச்சி என்றும் சில கதைகள். She also told me stories which were called sufferings, bad times, defeats, falls. These stories also she told me. Both these stories she told me and brought me up. And then he goes on. So in this poem, Bharati talks about Srishti in a beautiful way. Oh, my mother, just for my joy, she created the entire universe, the trees, the fruits, all the joys of life, everything. Goes on. And another much loved poem in this series is Kannan and Sevagan. Krishna, my Sevaka or servant. The poets are saying, oh, there is always trouble with these servant fellows. கூலி மிக கேட்பார், கொடுத்ததெல்லாம் தாம் மறப்பார், வேலை மிக வைத்திருந்தால் வீட்டிலே தங்கிடுவார். These servant fellows are too much of a problem. They always keep asking higher and higher wages. Every month increase the salary, they keep saying. Whatever I give, they keep forgetting that the master has paid them so well, so much. ஏனடா நீ நேற்றைக்கு இங்கு வரவில்லை என்றால், they keep on vanishing in the thin air. If I ask these servant fellows, why didn't you come yesterday? They say, oh, பானையிலே தேளிருந்து பல்லால் கடித்ததென்பார், பாட்டியார் செத்து விட்ட 18ஆம் நாள் என்பார், 12ஆம் நாள் என்பார். Oh, the scorpion bit me yesterday, sir. That's why I could not come. My grandfather died, and there is these ceremonies, 3rd day, 10th day ceremonies. That's why they keep on giving such lame excuses. Poyamal poyuraipa. These fellows, whatever comes from their mouth is only lies. Sevagaral patta siramamiga undu kandir. Sevagar illavidilo seigai nadakavillai. With these servant fellows, there is too much of trouble. But if there are no servants, nothing gets done. So when I was in such big problem, suddenly one man came. Engirindo vandan, idachadi naan endra. He came from somewhere. He said, sir, I am born in the jati of cowherds. Then he started narrating all his capabilities. Sir, I know how to graze cows. I know how to maintain household. I know how to take care of, all the things inside the house, your jewels, your clothes, your children. I'll be very nice to everyone, sir. Okay, what have you learned? I asked him. Sir, I haven't learned any major thing like that. Katra vittai edum illai. Kattu manidan ayye. I'm more of like a natural, a prakrita person, sir. I haven't learned anything as such. I'm more like a forester. Okay. Kuli enna ketkindrai kuru. Then he says, okay, yeah, so you seem to be a very promising servant. What wages do you ask? Then he says, Taligattum pendatti sandadigal edumillai. Sir, I am a person without any attachments. I don't have wife, children, or anything. I am beyond all that. Nanor Taniyal. I am a very lone person in all over the universe. Nenjilulla kadal peridanakku, kasu peridillai. It is the love in the heart that matters to me, not money. So then I employed him. Oh, such a nice and innocent fellow, so different from all the servants that I had. And the moment this Kannan came as a servant in my house, suddenly everything started shining. All people in the house are so happy, every work gets done. And the Kannan, I can't find even one single fault with this Kannan. Panbile Deivamai, Parvayile Sevaganai. Is this man a god? But he just looks like a servant. Ingivanai Yan Perave, Yenna Tavam Seidivite. What penance did I do to get this person as my servant? Kannan Yanadagatte Kalvaithan Al Mudalai. The day this Kannan stepped inside my household, Yennam Vicharam Yedum Avan Puruppai. I don't have to worry about anything. All my burdens are off my shoulders. It is him. It is he, this servant Kannan, who is taking care of everything. Yennam Vicharam Yedum Avan Puruppai. My thoughts, even that, those are his responsibilities now. And what is the result? Selvam, Ilamanbu, Siv Sirappu, Narkirti, Kalvi, Arivu, Kavithai, Siva Yogam. Oliser Nalamanaitum, Wongi Varihindranakam. My household has become prosperous. Everyone has become noble. The Kirti has increased. And whatever I learn, it shines in my intellect. I have become a good poet. And Shiva Yogam, which I was practicing, is just, I'm getting, I'm getting siddhis in that. Uliseer Nalamanitum, all the illuminating things, illustrious things are coming to me. So he says, such a beautiful poem. So normally it is the loyal servant whom we all trust. Everybody trusts their servants. So all the responsibilities, you just put it on the shoulders of the servant. You can remain peaceful. You can just be relaxed and cool. And that is the quality that Krishna brings in one's life in whatever form that you approach him. Then he talks about Kannan in Arasan, not a very popular poem. So he says our King Kannan is a very cool guy. The enemies, all his enemies are issuing all kind of intimidations and threats and everything. This person is just playing the flute. He is very relaxed and he just sitting and he jokes around whenever we go tell him, oh Kannan, what will happen to our country? He just keeps smiling. But don't underestimate him. Kalam vandu kai koodum appodilor ganathile pudithaga vilanguvar. But when the time demands, when there is a war cry at the borders, he suddenly becomes anew at that very moment. Sakkarathai eduppadu oru ganam, dharmam paril thalaithal maruganam. In this moment, he takes the chakra in his hand. The next moment, dharma gets refreshed. Dharma is firmly established in the very next moment. Ikkanathil idaiganam ondrundo. Is there any intermediate moment between these two? Idanulle pagai maitida vallan kan. He vanquishes his enemies in that gap. Such is his parakrama, his bravery. And then there is this interesting story of, the student Kannan, a very peculiar story. So the Bharati starts saying, I am a poet. I tried writing all kind of poetries. I had genuine pride about my knowledge and my skill in composing poetry and everything. Then, normally I don't take students who are dullards and that kind of people. This person, Kannan, came one day. So he said, Maya Kannan Valindenai Charndu. It's a very enchanting person he was. Maya Kannan. Pugarchigal Kurium, Pulamayai Viandum, Palavagayal Agapattura Chedan. So he praised my poetry. He wondered, he expressed surprise at my knowledge. And he just created some kind of attachment in my heart towards him. I took him as my disciple. Then I expected him to be a very obedient disciple. So I gave him a lot of commandments. Innadu seidide, ivarodu palage, innadu kattide, inna nool karpa. Hey, you should do this. You should not do that. Oh, you should not move around those fellows. Yeah. They are of different type. Don't study that. This is the book you have to study. I kept giving all these commands to him. But you know what he did? How he behaved? Kadaile Kanavan Solinukella, Edir Seyum Manaviye Pole, Neredir Neriye Nadapavanayina. Whatever I tell him, he will do exactly the opposite thing of what I taught him. I told him so many good things, good conduct, good behavior is what I taught him. But none of that the student Kannan follows. The whole town started abusing him as a madman. I tried to correct him in so many ways. With all the tricks, I tried to put him towards good path. Nothing worked out. Then I got one idea. I haven't given any proper work to him. A Shishya should always do some seva for the Guru. I must have put him into some activity that would have set him right. Yavarenum Ivanai or Todilil, or Idandannil, Oru Vali Valia, Nirthuvenayin, Nerutriva. Because I gave him too much of freedom, he's doing this. I have to give him some proper activity. He will sit at one place and do all that. Okay. So then he called Kannan. I called Kannan. He said, my creations, these poems, why don't you become a scribe for my poems? Just start writing them, My manuscripts are not so good. Sometimes I just tell the poems extempore. Why don't you take it down and write it? So he stood for some time and then he said, Sir, I shall go. I explained him about this activity, which will do good for him. He listened to all that and then I said, Sir, I shall go. I became very angry. Just don't stand before me. Get lost, I shouted. He just smiled. And he left. The moment he started leaving, suddenly something pinched my heart. Oh, he is leaving. Tears came onto my eyes. I called him. I told him, Nimdanai semmai seidida karidi ededo seide. Totruvittyenada. Surchigal arinde. Oh, Kannan, you are my disciple. I thought you are not perfect. I wanted to make you perfect. I tried all kinds of tricks to set right all the things that I thought are not perfect in you. But I stand defeated now. All my works have become vain. I accept it. The moment I said this, Kannan came back smiling. He brought a pen. That old story that I had given him for scribing, he just wrote it in a minute. And when he showed me the manuscript, it was an entirely new thing. That which my mind wanted to write, but that I could not write myself. And then Kannan, my student, disappeared immediately. But then he came into my heart and then he said, துன்பம் இங்கென்றும் இனி நினக்கு என்னால் எய்திடாது. Sir, my Guru, there won't be any suffering for you because of me. Don't worry. And then he said, மகனே, ஒன்றை ஆக்குதல் மாற்றுதல் அழித்திடல் எல்லாம் நின் செயல் அன்று காண். மகனே, my son, to make a thing, to destroy a thing, to change a thing, do you think all this are possible for you? Can you really do anything like that? Do you feel yourself as a karta? தோற்றேன் என நீ உரைத்திடும் போதிலே வென்றாள். The moment you say, I stand defeated, you win. உலகினில் தோன்றிய தொழிலெல்லாம் ஆசையும் தாபமும் அகற்றியே புரி வாழ்க நீ என்றான். In this world, do any kind of work without any desire, without any remorse. So that way, Kannan spoke in my heart. So that thus ends this beautiful poetry. So Bharati starts this poetry in a very Vedantic way. Before he says, Kannan came as my student, he says what that Kannan is. யானே யாகி என்னலார் பிறவாய் யானும் அவையும் இரண்டினும் வேறாய் யாதோ பொருளாம் மாயக்கண்ணன். This elusive being called the enchanter Kannan came to me as a disciple. This Kannan, who is really me, he is indeed me, and he is also the things other than me. He is also the things that are neither me and nor those things. Such Kannan came to me as a disciple. That's how that poem goes. Kannan, another Sadguru, is another interesting poem where Krishna is the teacher and not the disciple. So here Bharati is a student with thirst for knowledge. He says, I wandered all over the world, all over Bharatavarsha, here and there, learned all the Shastras. My mind was full of ambiguity and doubt and agitation. I couldn't find a proper guru. And suddenly one day I was walking around the banks of Yamuna. I saw an old man with a white beard. He told me, oh son, why are you searching in vain? Go to Mathura. There is the king there. He is a great teacher. மன்னர் குலத்தில் பிறந்தவன் வட மாமதுரைப்பதி ஆள்கின்றான். கண்ணன் தன்னை சரண் என்று போவையே. Just go to him. He is the great guru. So then I went all the way to Mathura. I met the king. Such lavish life he was living. All the time he was busy in the royal affairs. So busy in administration, in taking care of all his subjects and everything. And in all the rest of the times, he was indulging in song and dance. I was wondering, what is this guru? He has not even taught me one lesson so far. So I somehow thought that that old man was completely misled me. If I meet him again, I'll kill him. This guru is fake, and that old man who led me here is also fake. The moment that such thought arose in my mind, the king called me. He took me to a secluded place, and then he taught me such great wisdom. சோதி அறிவில் விளங்கவும் உயர் சூழ்ச்சி மதியில் விளங்கவும் அற நீதிமுறை வழுவாமலே எந்த நேரமும் பூமி தொழில் செய்து. The Guru taught me karma yoga, how to live in this world without being attached to the world. Intellect illuminated by the jnana, mind fired up by the higher purpose. All activities in accordance with the dharma. Do work in this world like me. That's the teaching he gave. And then comes Kannan, the playful boy. This song, தீராத விளையாட்டு பிள்ளை கண்ணன் தெருவிலே பெண்களுக்கு ஓயாத தொல்லை. Many of you must have heard. It's sung in all concerts. It is sung, it is played in the mandolin, violin, everything. So, restless, playful boy, this Kannan is தீராத விளையாட்டு பிள்ளை. If he is on the street, all girls are in trouble. They are agitated. He troubles them so much. He pulls their hair dressing. He throws mud at them. He just pulls their clothes off. The girls are all big trouble for them. So that way he keeps on narrating the leelas of Sri Krishna. Very beautiful lyrics. I'll just take one stanza from this beautiful poem. தின்ன பழம் கொண்டு தருவான் பாதி தின்கின்ற போதிலே தட்டி பறிப்பான். This Kannan brings a fruit for me to eat. I keep eating. Oh, great fruit, very nice. He just snatches it halfway when I am relishing it. I'm so angry. Then I plead him. Oh, Kannan, you are such a nice person. You are my Raja. Please give me. When I do all this, he just puts it in his mouth and nicely he rotates the fruit inside his mouth. He takes a bite and then gives it back to me. Do you think I would feel like eating it? Of course. He doesn't say that, The stanza just stops. எச்சில் படுத்தி கடித்து கொடுப்பான். Oh, how playful boy the Kannan. Just think about this metaphor. It's so philosophical, The Krishna brings all the fruits for you to eat, the sweet and bitter fruits. You keep eating and you offer that fruit for him. And whatever he gives as prasada, that if you eat, you transcend all those tastes. That's what this means. Kannamma. So Kannan is obviously a masculine gender word. So when Bharati wants to look at Kannan in feminine way, so he calls him Kannamma. So this is a famous Tamil word. Colloquially it is used. A husband calls his wife as Kannamma. So a mother calls her daughter lovingly Kannamma, like that. Kan also means eye. You are like my eye. That is the implied meaning here. So when Bharati wants to sing, look at Krishna as a child, he didn't look at him as a boy child. Okay? So he looked at him as a girl child. Because you know why? Bharati didn't have a son, but he had two daughters, Shakuntala and Tangamma. So it is the love of the daughter, the love of the girl child that was overflowing, brimming in Bharati's heart. And that's what, with that, a very inborn natural love of a father for his daughter, he sang this intimate personal experience. Kannamma en kulandai. Kannamma, my child. Chinnanjirukiliye, Kannamma, selva kalanjiyame. Ennai kali teerthe, ulagil yetram puriyavan. Very, very popular and very moving and touching song this is. This is a very famous lullaby which every Tamil father sings, father or mother, they sing to their child. The words in this lyrics are untranslatable. They are so beautiful. If I translate, it will look like cute little parrot, Kannamma, you are the treasure, my wealth, like that. But the feeling in this poem, untranslated. Now we come to last. We come to the love poems, the most exalted one. So Bharati has written both kind of love poems. Kannan and Kadalan, taking Krishna as his lover, and Kannamma and Kadali, Krishna as his lady love. So there are 6 poems in each of these category. These poems are very popular. Of course, as you know, the love poems are the most popular, right? So some of these have come in films. And there are many moods of love that Bharati expresses in this poem. There is this pangs of separation, the viraha, tundil pulvinai pol, veliye sudar vilakinai pol. How I am suffering in the pangs of separation for Krishna. He expresses it through many metaphors. There is this another poem, Dikku Theriyada Kaattil, where he says, oh, I'm just roaming around in this dense forest. I have lost my way. And suddenly this rogue person comes and he tries to intimidate me. I just cried, Kanna, Kanna, and then I fainted. Next moment, Kannan is standing before me. So there is one song like this, a very, very nice song. And there is this another song, Kannan Mananilayai Tangame Tangam, Kanduvara Venumadi Tangame Tangam, where the poet sends his friend Sakhi as a messenger to Kannan. Another beautiful song, Asai Mugam Marandu Pochi. It's a wonderful song. Did I forget his face, the ever affectionate face, Kannan's face? The lover gets doubtful. She gets doubtful. He says, Asai Mugam Marandu Poche. How can I forget? In my eyes, his form is etched. But that form, it doesn't have the fullness of his beauty. Kannil theriyudoru thotram, adil Kannan alagu muzhudillai. Oh, my friend, did I forget his loving face? Thenai marandirukkum vandum, ஒளி சிறப்பை மறந்து விட்ட பூவும் வானை மறந்திருக்கும் பயிரும் இந்த வையம் முழுதும் இல்லை தோல். How can a bee forget the sweetness of honey? In fact, the very existence of a bee is to taste honey. How can a flower forget the touch of sunlight? Sunlight is the very life of a flower. I mean, sunlight is the one which makes the flower bloom and live. How can a crop forget the droplet of rain? Oh friend, how can I forget Kannan's face? She asks. Kannan uru marandu ponal, இந்த கண்கள் இருந்தும் பயனுண்டோ? If these eyes, if they forget Krishna's form, what is the use of having those eyes? A beautiful poem. There are similar poems on Kannamma also. There is this poem, Suttum Vilichudardan, Kannamma Suriya Chandiraru, where the Kannamma's beauty is seen in nature. Oh, are your eyes, are they like sun and moon? The blackness in your eye, is it like the dark sky? The poem goes on like that. And there's another poem, Niritta Thiraikadalil Ninmugam Kandeen, நீல விசும்பினிடை நின்முகம் கண்டேன், திரித்த நுரையினிடை நின்முகம் கண்டேன், சின்ன குமிழிகளில் நின்முகம் கண்டேன். In the billowing waves of the ocean, I saw your face. In the blue sky, what I saw was your face. In the encircling foams, I saw your face. In the tiny water bubbles, I saw your face. பிரித்து பிரித்து நிதம் மேகம் அளந்தேன், பெற்றது உன்முகமன்றி பிரிதொன்றில்லை. I looked and looked again at these clouds of variegated patterns, crisscrossed them. I separately saw them. I saw them together. Whatever I do in that, it is your face that I see and nothing else. So Bharati sings about Kannamma. There's another poem, Tirthakaraile, which expresses the longing and pain and anguish. There are philosophical poems like Payumozhi Parkum Vizhi Naan Unakku, Veesu Kamal Nee Enakku Viriyum Malar Naan Unakku, Pesu Porul Nee Enakku Penum Mozhi Naan Unakku. Fragrance you are for me, blooming flower I am for you. Substance of speech you are for me, the language I am for you. It goes. நேசமுள்ள வான் சுடரே நின் அழகை ஏதுரைப்பேன் ஆசை மதுவே கனியே அள்ளு சுவையே கண்ணம். Oh, light of the sky beyond, how shall I describe your divine sublime beauty, Kannamma? So that ends the poems. Let's come back to the question that we had at the start of this session. So why should a devotee, so in a way, all these are relationships, right? Father, mother, friend, teacher, student, lover, child, king, different kinds of relationship. The moment when you say relationship, it is relative. It's not absolute, right? So the very word relationship means, so there is nothing absolute in a relationship. So one person can be a different relation for many. So, a person can be a father for someone, friend for some other person. But in this case, it is just one Kannan and one Bharati. It is the same Kannan who is all relations for the same Bharati. What did he do? The Lord says, Krishna says in the Gita, Mat karmakran mat paramo, mat bhakta sangavarjitaha. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu yassa mameti pandava. Mat karmakran, always do my work. Take me as the supreme. Become my bhakta. And devoid of all attachments. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu, not having enmity with any creature in the world. He comes to me. Yassa mameti pandava. He says. This is a great teaching in the Gita. So whatever you do, there has to be the Lord, the divine, Krishna, the Brahman in that. Shankara in his Bhashya says, Sarvasya Gita Sastrasya Sarabhutakaha Arthaha Nishreya Sarthaha. This shloka gives the quintessential summary of the Gita's teaching. And while explaining this term, Mat Bhaktaha, become my devotee, Shankara writes, Mameva Sarva Prakaraihi Sarvatmana Sarvotsahena Bhajate Mat Bhaktaha. He is my devotee who worships me in all possible ways. Sarva Prakaraihi Sarvatmana, with all his heart, with total enthusiasm. You see him as your father, mother, friend, everyone. So that is possible. And these relationships are all dualities. They are complementary and contradictory, opposed to each other. Student-teacher relationship, lover-love relationship. But Krishna is absolute. He is beyond all these relative things and relationships. And he is the one who makes every one of these relationships meaningful. You go to Upanishads. In Brihadaranyaka, what does Yajnavalkya say? In fact, he says this to his wife, Maitreyi. He says, Oh Maitreyi, do you think a husband loves wife for wife's sake? Do you think a wife loves husband for husband's sake? So he keeps on posing questions like this. And then he says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. It is the love for the self. It is the love for the Atman, that principle, due to which everything becomes dear to us. Everything becomes lovable to us. So that is the absolute. So Krishna is the absolute. So you can He becomes every relationship, and he also goes beyond every other relationship. To convey, it is to convey this Vedantic idea, Bharati. He doesn't say this very explicitly, but I think because Bharati was a great Vedantic, he had an in-depth and profound understanding of the Vedanta. He translated Upanishads. He translated the entire Bhagavad Gita in Tamil. The most beautiful Gita translation in Tamil is by Subramanya Bharati. So through this Kannan Pattu, he conveys the same idea. Was he the first to do that? No. Nammalvar, the foremost of all the Alvars, he sings so beautifully. உற்றார்கள் எனக்கில்லை யாரும் என்னும் உற்றார்கள் எனக்கிங்கு எல்லாரும் என்னும் உற்றார்களை செய்வேனும் யானே என்னும் உற்றார்களை அழிப்பேனும் யானே என்னும் உற்றார்களுக்கு உற்றாரே உற்றேனும் யானே என்னும் உற்றார் இலியன் வந்தேறக் கொலுவோ உற்றீர்கட்கு என் சொல்லிச் சொல்லுகேன் யான் உற்றென்னுடை பேதை உரைக்கின்றவே. So here, this is a beautiful poem in the Nayaki Bhava. This girl is intoxicated with Krishna. So he is so full of him. So his mother tells about her daughter's pain. What does she says? My little girl says, I have no relations here, in this world. உற்றார்கள் எனக்கு இல்லை யாரும். I am beyond this world. He is my only relation. And then he says, everyone here is my relative. உற்றார்கள் எனக்கு இங்கு எல்லாரும் என்னும். Why does she say? Because he is Sarvatma. And then she says, so the mother says that my daughter starts prattling like this. One moment she says, I have no relations here. In the next moment she says, everyone here is my relative. I am the one who makes relatives relate, she says. I also end all relations. And to those related to me, I become all relations, she says. That is the great Advaita Bhavana. Can it be the Lord of illusions, beyond all relations, who has come and possessed her, taken over her? Is that why she says this? So look at these words of Nammalvar. Utrar ili Mayan vanderakkolo. The Lord of illusions, Mayan, who is beyond all relations, has he come and taken her over? How can I tell you the state of my daughter? So it is this feeling of Nammalvar, so profound, so sublime, so mystical, that our Bharathiyar has expressed all through his Kannan part. With that, I bring these session to end. Thank you all for patiently listening. Thank you, Subhuji, for giving this opportunity to share my thoughts on this Kannan part of Bharathiyar. Namaskar.
Mikka Nandri, Dhanyavadaha. After hearing such wonderful reflections on Subramanya Bharathiyar's Kannan part, which has Krishna as right from a child to a notorious boy who would do mischief to the gopis, to being a friend, to considering Krishna as not only a teacher but as a student. So, and also as a servant, people would look at him as Yajaman, and then would look at him as and then look at the devotee as a dasa, as a dasya bhava. But here is a poet who dared to see the Lord as a servant, and then that's a wonderful perspective. And also the Krishna as Kannamma, as a child, and all those Kannamma as a baby, as a child, or also as a beloved, and all those things, and such wonderful things as you brought back the memories of Asai Mogam Maranda Pochu and all those things are such wonderful compositions. And he did not stop there. He even took to the great epic of Mahabharata as the Panchali Shabadam and all. I think all those are very relevant even today. what Bharathiyar would have just now, like Anuradha ji was, expressing to me, that what a profound poet he is, who not only stopped there with these different expressions or bhavas, but also a great Desha Bhakta that he was. And rightly, as you presented, he was a devotee of both Shakti and Krishna. That's what we see with Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who was also a great devotee of Kali and also Krishna, and Swami Vivekananda. So he, perhaps because he imbibed the same lineage through Sister Nivedita, that he had both devotion towards Devi as Shakti and also Krishna. And these, he took it for the Rashtra Bhakti that he had and the Samaja Nirmana, what he envisioned in during his contemporary times. And lot of lessons to learn from Bharathiyar's poetry. And thank you so much for bringing these beautiful dimensions on this occasion when we are celebrating Krishna Janmashtami. And it also coincides in 2 days with the day of remembrance of Subramanya Bharathiyar, as his Mahasamadhi day would also be approaching us. So with this, once again, on behalf of Adhyatma Yoga and Advaita Academy, I express my pranams, gratitudes to Shri Jataayu ji. And as I told you, he was one of the first persons for me to remember and contact in the series. But I just reminded him of the event only 2 days back. That tomorrow you were not even 2 days. I think it was yesterday that I reminded him back that tomorrow it's going to be your talk. So immediately, that he was ever ready, charged, because for him to speak on Bharathiyar or any of these Tamil literature, and to Krishna, though he's Jataayu, but in every Rama Bhakta, I see the Krishna Bhakti also being there. So we have seen when people like even Samartha Ramadas or Kabir Das also having compositions on Krishna, and Mirabai would also sing on Rama Ratana Dhanapayo. So between them, there is not, Ishta Devata, Nishta is very much would be there, but then would also, they would be crossing to the other Devata to experience him also. That way, we are happy that Jataayu ji perhaps took a Garuda Avatara to celebrate Krishna today. From being Jataayu, he would have been Garuda today to bring us Bharathiyar's poem. Once again, we would be, the next time possible, we would like to hear from him of Krishna in the ancient Tamil literatures, like the Sangha literatures and all those things also. I think we don't have much questions because hearing these were itself a great experience, and then it was a joy, pleasure. So once again, we thank Sri Jataayu ji for presenting this profound Bharathiyar poems. And before we conclude, I would like to remind you all of tomorrow's things. Again, from Tamil literature, as I told you, even in the ancient literatures as we have. So we're going to have Srimati Hemamalini Prasad, the co-founder of Antar Yoga and also director of Sail Training Institute. She'll be presenting on the path of Andal's divine love for Krishna, that is Tirupavai. We have seen or heard few Tirupavai songs being sung by singers like Vaishnavi Anand, and yesterday we have seen Aishwarya Harish from Mumbai also presenting dance to Tirupavai songs. So tomorrow we are going to have a talk on the path of Andal's divine love for Krishna from Tirupavai by Srimati Hemamalini Prasad, and also the Bharatanatyam dance by her blessed daughters, Vidushi Bhumija Prasad and Supraja Prasad. Both will be presenting on Krishna and Andal again in the dance format also. So with this, once again, I thank each one of you for being part of this session, especially Sri Jataayu ji and Sri Seshagiri ji, who also brought in the beautiful dimension of the arts. So let's conclude with the Utsava Geetam, Krishnam Vande.
जय यदुकुल तिलक भगवन् यमुना तीरचर देवकी स्तुत वसुदेव सुत माधव मधुरमन स्वामिन् मामव देववर माधव मधुरमन स्वामिन् मामव देववर नन्दानन्दकर गोपी जन हृदयाय सुरमुख सुररिपुसूदन नागभोगनटन बहुधाराधा प्रियकरण नागभोगनटन बहुधाराधा प्रियकरण कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हलधर वरसहज तरुण मुरलीधरण नट मल्लविमर्दन मातुलमथन मथुरानगरपदे मायामोहं मम शमय मथुरानगरपदे मायामोहं मम शमय रुक्मिण्यपहरणं समरे जाम्बवती वरणं मणिवरसमुदितभामाभरणं विरचितवन्तमहं वन्दे मोहनरूपधरम् विरचितवन्तमहं वन्दे मोहनरूपधरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णां वसनेन पार्थं गीतावचनेन परिपालितवान् योगिवरेण्यो धर्मग्लानिहर शाश्वतगोप्ता मनुजान धर्मग्लानिहर शाश्वतगोप्ता मनुजान तव लीलास्मरणं कृष्ण शोकमोहहरणं तवोपदेशाध्ययनाचरणं पुनरावृत्तिहरं लोके परमानन्दफलं पुनरावृत्तिहरं लोके परमानन्दफलम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्
Jai Shri Krishna, Radhe Krishna. Once again, my humble pranams to Sri Seshagiri ji and Jataayu ji for bringing such wonderful dimensions of arts and poetry, where Krishna is celebrated by great Subramanya Bharathiyar in the poetry, and we have seen the various styles of arts from various parts of our country, Bharat. And tomorrow we will meet again in the next episode of Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Jai Shri Krishna.